Welcome, explorer of worlds. Today we delve into the life and lore of Círdan the Shipwright. The legacy of this elf is nearly as long as the legacy of the world, therefore we will be going over a lot of the older lore of Middle-earth. This video will include many names and places you may not yet be familiar with, but for the brave will be an interesting crash course into the deeper lore of the universe. If you are ready, buckle up. In the primordial twilight of Middle-earth, before the sun and moon heralded the dawn of the First Age, there lived an elf whose destiny would intertwine with the fate of the world itself. This is the tale of Círdan, born No, one of the eldest of the Elder, whose journey began by the starlit waters of Cuiviénen. In the ancient times before the stars, Nova emerged among the early elves, sharing lineage with Elve and Olva, leaders of the Teleri. His unparalleled skill in shipbuilding was evident from their earliest settlements at Cuiviénen to their sojourns by the Sea of Rhun. During the westward march towards the blessed realm of Valinor, Nauva, with a steadfast group, persevered where many kin faltered. Despite his deep yearning to behold Valinor's radiant light, Nova's loyalty led him to search for the missing Elwe, causing the Teleri to miss their initial voyage to Valinor aboard Tol Eressëa, which carried the Noldor and Vanya. In Elwe's absence, Olwe rose as their leader. As they awaited Ulmo's return, Nov honed his shipbuilding, an art from which he derived his name Círdan, meaning shipwright in Sindarin. This period also marked the blossoming of their alliance with Osa, the Mire of the Seas. Círdan's dedication to finding Elwe surpassed all, fueled by a profound bond and allegiance. Arriving too late for the second departure to Valinor, Círdan witnessed the fading light of Eressëa disappearing into the west. It was then that he received a divine forewarning. His creations were not yet ready for such a voyage. This prophecy foretold a time when his craftsmanship would become legendary, inspiring songs and tales. Círdan, accepting this fate, envisioned a magnificent ship in his heart. As Lord of the Falas, Círdan led the Teleri, who chose to remain, drawn by their love for Ossa. Known as the Falathrim, they thrived by the sea, crafting ships and discovering pearls which they sent to their sovereign, Thingol in Doriath. Isolation struck with Morgoth's onslaught in YT 1497, rendering Círdan unable to aid Thingol. However, the return of the Noldor from Aman marked a turn of tides, lifting the siege on the Falas through a decisive victory against Morgoth's forces. Círdan's wisdom became evident at the Merith Adethad, where he formed lasting alliances, particularly with Finrod Felagund. Their collaboration led to the reconstruction of the havens of Brithombar and Eglarest. Disturbed by rumors of the kinslaying at Alqualond, Círdan's insight prompted him to alert Thingol, leading to further division between the Sindar and Noldor. In wars to come, Círdan's naval prowess proved invaluable, notably in the second assault on Hithlum, where his fleet's surprise attack secured a pivotal victory. The Nirnaeth Arno Idiad brought refugees to his havens, where Círdan's guerrilla tactics kept the enemy at bay until the Falas fell to Morgoth's overwhelming might. Yet Círdan and survivors, including the young Gil Galad, escaped to Bala, establishing a new refuge and maintaining a presence at the mouths of Sirion. Círdan's contributions continued as he sent mariners to seek Valinor's aid on Turgon's behest, though none but one returned. His role as a messenger for Ulmo's warnings, though unheeded, underscored his importance. Following Gondolin's fall, Gil Galad ascended as High King, with Círdan becoming a guiding force for Eärendil, aiding in the construction of Vingilo. Tragedy struck again at the havens of Sirion, yet Círdan and Gil Galad's arrival prevented further loss. Eärendil's voyage to Valinor, bearing the Silmaril, led to the Valar's forgiveness. From then, Círdan was blessed with unparalleled foresight, a gift marking his role in pivotal events, shaping Middle-earth's destiny. Even after the War of Wrath, Círdan chose Middle-earth over Valinor, remaining as a steadfast guardian and shipwright, his legacy echoing through the ages as a testament to his enduring wisdom, craftsmanship, and deep love for the sea and his people. As the Second Age dawned, Círdan's foresight and craftsmanship was summoned once more. He spearheaded the construction of a fleet that would bear the Edain, survivors of old alliances and wars, to the shores of what would blossom into Numenor. With deliberate care, there, Círdan appointed the most skilled among the elves as captains and navigators for these critical voyages. This massive undertaking, which spanned 50 years, eventually ceased by divine command, marking the end of Edain migration and the beginning of Numenor's isolation. Through the centuries, Círdan's wisdom and benevolence extended to the Numenorians, fostering friendships that bridged the divide between their peoples. His guidance in shipbuilding and coastal architecture was imparted to the likes of Viantur and Aldarion, ensuring that the art of seafaring would flourish under their hands. Yet Círdan's wisdom shone brightest against the shadow of ambition. When Anatar the Deceiver proposed the forging of the Rings of Power, Círdan, alongside Galadriel, counseled caution. Despite their warnings going unheeded, leading to strife and sorrow, Círdan was entrusted with Narya, the Ring of Fire, by Celebrimbor. This trust signified his stature as a guardian against darkness, a role he upheld even as Sauron's malice unfolded across Eriador. Círdan's havens, bolstered by Numenorian might, stood as bastions of resistance, untouched by Sauron's wrath. In the epical clash of the Last Alliance, Círdan's valor was undiminished. Side by side with the greatest heroes of the age, he fought to stem the tide of Sauron's dominion. In the aftermath, alongside Elrond, he beseeched Isildur to eradicate the One Ring, a plea that bore the weight of foresight and the bitter knowledge of missed opportunities. Following the conclusion of the War of the Last Alliance and the fall of Gil Galad, Círdan stood as the unwavering guardian of the Havens. For over a millennium, peace reigned in his domain until the shadow of a new threat began to grow around the year TA 1050. It was during this era of creeping darkness that the Istari, emissaries of the Valar, arrived in Middle-earth. Círdan, endowed with unparalleled foresight among the elves, discerned their true mission. His insight into Gandalf's destiny led him to bestow upon the wizard Narya the Ring of Fire, entrusting him with a relic of immense power and mystery. As the Angmar War ravaged the lands, Círdan and the elves of Lindon rallied to Arnur's aid. They stood alongside King Arvaleg and the men of Cardolan, repelling the invaders from the Weather Hills. When Arvaleg's heir, Arafor, faced the dark forces of Angmar, Círdan's forces were instrumental in their retreat from Fornost and the North Downs. Their alliance with Rivendell and the Galadrim, who crossed the Misty Mountains to join the fray, temporarily quelled the threat of Angmar. The year TA 1975 saw Círdan dispatching mariners from Lindon on a daring mission to Foroshel, seeking to rescue the stranded King Arvedui. Despite their valiant efforts, the king's ill-fated decision to sail during winter led to tragedy. In the aftermath, Círdan united with Arnor's remnants to claim victory at the Battle of Fornost, marking a turning point in the struggle against Angmar. Following the battle, Círdan assumed stewardship of the Elendil Stone on Imin Bereid, a relic capable of gazing into the west, now isolated from the network of Palantiri. Círdan's influence extended to the War of the Ring, where Galdor represented him at the Council of Elrond, conveying his lord's wisdom and authority. As the Third Age drew to a close, Círdan welcomed the Ring-bearers to Mithlond, bidding farewell to Gandalf, Galadriel, and Elrond as they embarked on their final journey westward aboard a vessel of his making. Though the tales of the age ended, Círdan's legacy endured, a testament to his eternal vigilance and the deep bonds forged in the fires of countless battles and shared destinies. With the destruction of the One Ring and the final defeat of Sauron, the Third Age came to an end, heralding the beginning of the Fourth Age, the Age of Men. As the elves' time in Middle-earth waned, Círdan's role as the shipwright became more crucial than ever. Círdan oversaw the final departures of the elves to the Undying Lands, including notable figures such as Galadriel and eventually Legolas, along with Gimli. His duties also extended to ensuring the passage of the Ring-bearers, Frodo and Bilbo Baggins, granting them peace from the weariness of their quests. Regarding his fate, the lore does not explicitly detail Círdan's own departure to the Undying Lands, but it is implied that he remained at the Grey Havens until he deemed his duty fulfilled, and the last of the elves wishing to leave Middle-earth had sailed. As one of the eldest beings in Middle-earth, his departure would mark the end of an era, the final closing of the Eldar's long history in the mortal lands. In this sort of postscript to the video, we're going to do a short addendum where we write some of the close connections that Círdan had with others throughout his time on Middle-earth. This doesn't fit into the narrative of the story as well, so it's just a sort of bonus here at the end. We hope you enjoy this little extra bit of lore. Círdan had a significant relationship with Elrond. After the War of Wrath at the end of the First Age, Elrond chose to dwell with Círdan at the Havens for a time before founding Rivendell. Later, during the Second Age, when Elrond founded Rivendell as a refuge for the elves, Círdan supported him. Their bond was further solidified during the last alliance of elves and men against Sauron at the end of the Second Age. Círdan and Elrond both were ring-bearers. Elrond bore Vilya, the Ring of Air, one of the 3 rings of the elves, and their shared responsibility for these powerful artifacts likely brought them closer together in counsel and purpose. Círdan's connection with Galadriel, though less explicitly documented, is evident through their mutual involvement in key events and councils. As leaders among the Elder and members of the White Council, they shared a commitment to opposing Sauron. Galadriel, being one of the most powerful and ancient elves in Middle-earth, would have respected Círdan for his wisdom and foresight. Their collaboration in the White Council and their shared history of resisting the darkness in Middle-earth suggest a relationship built on mutual respect and shared objectives. Círdan's connection with Celebrimbor is more indirect, but nonetheless significant. Celebrimbor was the master smith of a region who forged the 3 rings of power. While the lore does not detail direct interactions between Círdan and Celebrimbor, Círdan was deeply involved in the events that followed the ring's creation, particularly in the fight against Sauron. When Celebrimbor entrusted the rings to Gil Galad, Círdan eventually became the keeper of Narnia, until he passed it to Gandalf. This act shows Círdan's pivotal role in safeguarding the power and legacy of Celebrimbor's work against Sauron. Irenian Gil Galad was the last High King of the Noldor in Middle-earth. Círdan was a close ally and friend to Gil Galad, especially during the Second Age as they faced the growing threat of Sauron together. Círdan served under Gil Galad's command during the War of the Last Alliance, where they fought side by side at the Siege of Barad-dûr. Gil Galad's trust in Círdan was evident in his decision to entrust him with one of the 3 rings of power which Círdan later passed to Gandalf. Beyond Gandalf, Círdan would have had interactions with the other Istari who arrived at the Grey Havens. Saruman, Curumo, Radagast, Iwendil, and the 2 blue wizards, Alatar and Palando, also came to Middle-earth around the same time as Gandalf. Círdan's role in welcoming them and possibly providing guidance as they embarked on their missions to counter Sauron adds another layer to his involvement in the Third Age's pivotal event. Elros Tar Miniatur, the brother of Elrond and the first king of Numenor, is another character with whom Círdan had a significant historical connection. Although direct interactions are not detailed, Círdan's role in aiding the Edain, the ancestors of the Numenorians, and his later interactions with the Numenorians suggest a connection to Elros and his lineage. Círdan's relationship with the Numenorians, including their later descendants like Aragorn, ties him to the broader narrative of the Dunedain. As the keeper of the Grey Havens, Círdan played a crucial role in the departure of Frodo and Bilbo Baggins to the Undying Lands at the end of The Lord of the Rings. His silent presence during their departure marks a direct connection to these central characters, symbolizing the transition from the Third Age to the peace of the Fourth Age. And so we end our exploration of Círdan the Shipwright. While with a character this tremendously old, there are certainly more details we could dive into. We will leave those for another video and another time. We thank you as always for watching this video, and for any comments or thoughts you leave, please like the video if you can. And as always, subscribe to join our fellowship.